before AI, you have, say a customer support operation, right? You've got about 1,000 support agents, 1,000 help desk seats, priced tied to humans, right, per seat. But now, after AI, you've got, for example, 300 support agents. AI resolves routine issues. Humans handle the edge cases. Customer volume increases because you can handle more volume. Um, and resolution time improves, obviously, thanks to AI. Software value increases, and the seat count falls. And that's obviously the paradox. The software may be more valuable than ever, but the old pricing meter captures less of that value.
But
Yeah.
isn't that where we want to be? I mean, think about it. The idea that you just pay for a block, of a person who may or may not be doing work. I mean, in a
Yeah.
perfect world, I would love to pay for the work that got done. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do we make that fair, and how we don't get gouged, if you're enterprise, but I mean, we would love that. I mean, it's the same way with in software development between fixed bid and paying by hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The client would love to do a fixed bid, but sometimes that's not fair to the developer. And so, trying to get to that point, and I'm taking the economics of replacing labor and stuff out of it,
Yeah.
but just from
Mhm.
the consumer's point of view, I would always want to pay for the quality of work. Okay, the work is one thing. I would really like to pay for the outcomes. That's what I would really like to pay for. And if I'm not getting outcomes, I don't want to pay for that. But under the
Yeah.
current system, I'm paying regardless. I mean, look at Salesforce. I mean, Salesforce is a perfect example of you're literally paying for everything. You're paying for seats, you're paying for this, you're paying for that. So you see them right now trying to turn this around. They're charging a per seat fee, but then they're also charging a credit packages. By the way,
Yeah.
the idea of using the term token, I think we're going to get away from that. It'll be credits because no one understands what a token is. You know what I mean? So the idea of credits, people understand that. So I think you're going to see packages where it's a cheaper per seat, but you're going to get,
Yeah.
credit packages to do other stuff. It'll be the Live Nation-ification of, your seat calls this, but if you want to get in early, if you want parking, if you want to do all these things, if you want to do all this work, you're going to have to buy credits for it. I'm sorry,
There
Dad, I
is
didn't mean to interrupt you.
no. There's historic precedence for this. Back when, in the pre-web application era,
Mhm.
that when you had to access a database, every person who was accessing that database had to have a license. So Oracle would sell you a license to do that. And then what happened to web applications is suddenly the applications, you'd have these websites up and running, and they were using 2 database seats because the old pricing model didn't fit anymore. And we're hitting some of that now that, okay,
Mhm.
I only have 3 employees in the company, but I've got 4 dozen agents that we run constantly that need this. And the meaning of what a seat is anymore actually changes. And I think part
Mhm.
of that shift you're seeing is I'm starting to see startups that are stepping away from that seat and subscription model. As I mentioned earlier, that's been the de facto, that they're getting to something else. And it's getting back to this, the old way back when in the machine where you're paying for machine time and you had credits for machine time. I think there are aspects of that are re-entering the lexicon. And this is part of the reason why SaaS valuations have fallen to the floor,
Mhm.
because everyone understands that we are in a very strange transition period here. So, you had a SaaS company a few years ago, you might see a 10 to 20x valuation based on revenue. There are SaaS exits now with 1x on revenue, being basically like a services company. And 1 to 3 is entirely typical right now because that long game is so cloudy. The way everyone was modeling this on these hockey stick growth curves, all that's cast into doubt when you have pressures that will change the pricing model. I mean, SaaS itself may not die in this process, but the existing licensing approach is probably going to be dramatically disrupted for the reasons we've all brought up.